Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at how to use the Perplexity API within VoiceFlow. Now quickly, what is Perplexity AI? So Perplexity AI is an AI language model, very much like ChatGPT or Google Gemini, and it can search the internet and get live, up-to-date information and return it in its generated text blocks. Now, if you're a user of ChatGPT or Google Gemini, you might say, well, ChatGPT and Google Gemini can do that. But the difference is that their API keys cannot, whereas Perplexity AI can. So if you make an API call using Perplexity's API key, it will be able to search and scrape the internet for the most up-to-date information, whereas OpenAI's and Google Gemini's API will not, making it a perfect use case for VoiceFlow applications. Now I'm going to show you how to use Perplexity AI's API within VoiceFlow. Now, I have done a video on this before. However, there has since been an update to the documentation, which therefore made my previous video obsolete. So this is just a quick one to show you how to use the new updated API. It's similar, although it's subtly different. So my previous code won't work. So let's first start with how we're going to structure this within VoiceFlow. So we're going to capture the user response. So we just write a card here, ask a question for Perplexity AI. The user's going to see that, and then their response will be captured and saved to the variable last utterance. Now we need to make an API call. So on the side toolbar here, we would select API. Now I've already done a little bit of groundwork here just for the sake of the tutorial. So for the method, we need to select post. And we need to paste in this URL, which can be obtained by going to the documentation and clicking copy on this bar here. Paste it into there, and now we know the destination that we're making our API call to. Next, we need to configure some headers. So we need to add one and name it authorization. And in the box below, type in bearer. Then you'll add a space and then paste in the API key. Now, how do you obtain your API key for Perplexity? If you go to your account and click on the settings wheel here, you'll be brought to settings, select API. I'm not going to do it because it'll expose my API key, but you'll see an area to generate your API key, as well as links to the documentations. Okay, so once you've obtained your API key, and you've pasted it with a space in this box here after the word bearer, the next header you need to write content -type and below application/JSON. Great. Now we need to paste in the body, and I'll show you how to configure that now because there's a few interesting things that we can do. So if we head over to the documentation, this is where we would put our API key. So let's just get this all sorted. Okay, so there are only two mandatory boxes that we need to fill in here, and that is the model. So the AI model that we'll be making a call to. What I did there, on the little info icon, I just hovered my mouse over there, and then if you click on example value, it will autofill this with one of Perplexity AI's models. You can search their documentation and choose a model which is more suited to the kind of outputs that you're looking for. But just for this example, we'll use a random one. And then for the messages. So because we're using VoiceFlow and we've already predefined a user message in the previous step here, we've captured the user's reply and we've assigned it to the variable last utterance. So all we want to do is we want to paste that variable into here. So when we make the API call, it will feed the user's input to the API. And next, for the role, we need to define that this message has come from the user to the system. Great, and that's it. Now, there are additional things that you can add, and you can leave them blank, and if you do leave them blank, they'll just default to another value. It is stated in the documentation. And you'll see as you update these values here, you'll see them appear in this code block. So for example, if I define maximum tokens as 500, you'll see that it was just added here. You can change the temperature. This is the creativity of the model. So I could put 1.5, that would be very creative. The lower the number, the more deterministic the outputs. I'll just leave this blank. Now, you can see an option here to return citations and images. Now, at the moment, this is in closed beta access. So though you can set these values to true, they won't actually return anything as of yet in the API call. Another interesting one is a search recency filter. So you can limit the date with which the API call will retrieve up-to-date information. And also another one here is search domain filter. I think this is one worth experimenting with. What this does, this means you can limit your search to specific search domains. So you could paste in a website URL here, and it will exclusively search that. Equally, if you type a negative sign before the web URL, it will exclude that from the search result. At the moment, you can only select up to 3. So you could get Perplexity to search 3 different websites, which are frequently updated. Okay, so once we've now configured our variables, so we're getting the values that we want, next we need to copy and paste a very specific part of the code. So you want to make sure you have selected CURL, and you want to select the code between, you'll see here a little quotation mark, a single quotation mark, and here after data a single quotation mark. Now you want to highlight all of the code between those two quotation marks, those single quotation marks. You want to copy and paste it. You want to copy and paste it into this raw code here. And there we go. Now, because I haven't pasted in my API key, this won't work. However, I guarantee if you follow the steps up until now and paste your own API key, this will make a successful API call. So once you make the API call, you'll have a large JSON output returned to you. And there'll be a lot of extra information that you don't need. But if you're interested in the text response, all you need to do is type response.choices, square brackets, 0, .message.content. And this is the line of code that shows the destination for the generated text response. And then you can assign that to the variable, or any variable you want. I've just named it Perplexity response, which is then outputted here. Okay, thanks for watching that video. I think that's all you need to know on how to use the Perplexity AI API. Excuse me. If you've got any questions, please do ask, and subscribe if you are looking for any more VoiceFlow tutorials in the future. Thank you.